Libya. It is now, we find out from ABC News yesterday, and there's congressional hearings beginning today, and this is huge. The president lied to you on day one. They knew in advance that there was trouble. The ambassador knew that there was trouble. The ambassador asked for help. He was rejected. The State Department now is coming out, and this is very important. The State Department people are starting to say, I'm going to survive. I am not going down with this ship. And now the State Department is coming out, and they are warning the American people. The media will decide whether or not this actually makes a difference. But this is huge. And it's huge in the conclusion part. I'll show you why. So, the White House knew. The White House has lied to you for 30 days. Right to your face. And, more importantly, they've used this crisis to further a Muslim Brotherhood agenda point. Get people to stop. They've arrested the guy. Didn't they arrest the guy for making the videotape? I know they held him for a while.
They didn't arrest him for that, supposedly. They arrested him for a separate probation violation.
Oh, okay, so, sure. Okay, point number one. You've been lied to massively. It affects your security. 3, the crisis has been used by this president to further a Muslim Brotherhood agenda point. 4, good guys in the State Department, the administration, the DOJ, and the Pentagon are stepping up to the plate and giving sources like us and ABC and NBC and CNN news and saying, please get this news out. Here's your conclusions. You have to tell the truth. You have to be the one that becomes an expert on this story, and quickly. And you have to be able to have the facts at your fingertips. Pat and Stu, could I ask you guys to put together some clips and stuff in a timeline? I know they're doing this for TV tonight. We're putting a timeline together, but can you make sure that we have it ready for radio as well? So you could have these clips and you can make this case? Find all the best sources, utilize our own sources, but get everything together, and let's put this together on a package so you have it, so you can then go and tell your friends and explain exactly what happened and why it's important. But the media is not going to carry the water on this. The media is only caring about this. They didn't care about the Solyndra thing. They didn't care about, our border guards being killed. Why? I think because this one, they've been lied to over and over and over again. And the ends don't justify the means because their reporters are the ones who are going to get killed over in the Middle East. It's very selfish of them, but I think that's the only reason why they care. So, conclusions. You have to tell the truth, and you have to do it quickly. If this president is reelected, those guys who are giving you the inside sources, they're done. 2, the Arab Spring, Obama and the media were 100% wrong on. It is a danger to you and the United States of America. Next point. The Arab Islamists are stronger, not weaker. You have not, by killing Osama bin Laden, it didn't do anything because you screwed everything else up so massively, they have been emboldened. You have just killed an American ambassador, and the Americans did nothing. 4th point, Muslim Brotherhood, bad. This one you have to be very clear on, because the Muslim Brotherhood has infiltrated our school systems. The Muslim Brotherhood has infiltrated our media. They have done our Pentagon, and they have gone into our State Department, our Department of Homeland Security, and this administration. This administration has had them in the Oval Office to meet. When the president says, I'm not going to release the blind sheik, don't believe him, because he's already lied to you about this. 5th point, the president, this administration, and some in the State Department are on the wrong side. Whether they know it or not, and I believe some do, they are on the wrong side. They are enemies of the state. 6, massive, coordinated, institutionalized lies have been told to the American people in the last 30 days alone. Whether they are for political purposes or not, doesn't matter. 7, the president is, whether he knows it or not, executing Muslim Brotherhood agenda points directly from the project. You have to decide whether or not he knows. 8, you and your children and your country are much less safe than you were 4 years ago. And we weren't safe 4 years ago. But we have let 4 years slide by. And worse, we have empowered all of the bad guys and eviscerated the good guys. If it's not intentional, it is criminally negligent. But let me make my last point in my conclusion a question. How could this president actually be even considered to be president of the United States when you look at his track record of when he springs into action? How many times have I said in the last 10 years, I could never be the president of the United States because I don't know enough. And I'm going to stand in that office and I'm going to be asked for a gut reaction of something and I've got to have an answer right now. Right now, Mr. President, we've got to turn the key. Do we turn the key? Yes or no, sir? Yes or no, sir? I don't know. What do you guys think? It's up to you, sir. Answer now. That's the job of the President of the United States. And every time this president has been pushed, this president decides the wrong thing. Let me give you a quick list. And if you're listening, I know you will come up with other lists. Please call us and give us your list. Where the president has sprung into action, the cops acted stupidly. I don't have any of the information. Mr. President, I need your decision now. He volunteers. I don't have any information, but here's what I know. The cops acted stupidly. He was wrong. Egypt. He was wrong. He springs into action to help the Muslim Brotherhood. He's wrong. Libya. Let's go after Libya. He springs into action. All of a sudden, we're in Libya. Why are we in Libya? Do you remember? We have a responsibility to protect. He was wrong. He immediately goes over and starts to negotiate all of our arms deals. Immediately. There's no build up to this. He just goes over and he gives the British codes to Russia. Trayvon Martin, he springs into action. Before anything has been found out, he springs into action. He could have looked like my son. He was wrong. Now, when he is supposed to spring into action, he doesn't. He takes the credit for killing Osama bin Laden. Does anybody remember the stories? The story is that they almost had to force him to make that decision. He had this decision on his desk for almost 6 months. He delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed until finally they said, Mr. President, yes or no. He said, I have to sleep on it. I don't have any information, but the cops acted stupidly. Do you want to kill Osama bin Laden? I don't know. It's a really hard decision. I don't know. Really? Fort Hood, workplace shooting? Your gut tells you what that one is. He says it's a workplace shooting. He doesn't spring into action. He says, let's gather all the facts. We don't know. Let's not jump to any conclusions. He was wrong. The Libya killings. It's all about a video. You knew and I knew. It's September 11th. Your gut tells you that's wrong. But he had more. We now know that the State Department told them that's not what it is. It's a coordinated attack. He was wrong. The Gulf oil spill. Does anybody remember that? Spring into action. We've got a crisis. He's not there for 2 weeks. Where were you, Mr. President? It's a huge disaster. Where are you? The Iranian uprising. Well, let's take our time. He was wrong. Syria. He still hasn't done anything about Syria. The underwear bomber in Times Square. Do you remember that? The underwear bomber. It's Christmas time. Nothing from this White House. The Black Panthers. Nothing. When the Black Panthers took to the streets, while he was defending Trayvon, the Black Panthers start to threaten to kill people. The president says nothing. Every time he's supposed to spring into action because your gut tells you what the right thing to do. Mr. President, turn the key. He chooses wrong every single time. When he shouldn't spring into action, he does. And he's wrong every single time. I'm sorry. But you can make a case that this is just the most inept guy. I didn't know I was hiring a communist with Van Jones. I'm the most unlucky guy in the world. Well, I don't want the most unlucky guy in the world running our country anymore. How about you? Give him the benefit of the doubt. He's the most hapless, sad sack string of accidents I've ever seen. Let's get the bull out of the china closet. Common sense would tell you. But if I may, okay, Fort Hood, we didn't know. The Arab Spring, maybe in your wildest dreams. The Iranian uprising, I can't even begin to explain that one. Syria, what do you do? But I'm sorry. You now have evidence that the president knew in advance about Libya. Our ambassador begged. What was the ambassador doing in Benghazi? Why was he in the most dangerous place he could possibly be without any backup after the day before he writes and says, this is dangerous for me? Why is he in Benghazi?
Not the capital city.
This president is on the wrong side. And if America cannot see this, Mitt Romney, he shot from the hip. He was right. This is a terrorist attack. He didn't have the briefings. He was right. Every time the president shoots from the hip, he's wrong. And when he is informed, he's wrong. I'm sorry. No mincing words. This president, whether he knows it or not, is a danger to the United States of America. We know they never linked the attack to a YouTube video. So the State Department's out. The State Department said immediately it was a highly coordinated, unprecedented terrorist attack. There were no protests before the attack. They stated they knew that. But wait a minute. But the official story within 24 hours is that U.S. intelligence agencies have enough evidence to conclude terrorist attack was involved. We got it from the State Department, now from the intelligence communities. So why then on the same day, Obama told you this?
Since our founding, the United States has been a nation that respects all faiths. We reject all efforts to denigrate the religious beliefs of others.
Same line. Let's go 2 days down the road, September 14th. Here's Jay Carney denying that there was any actionable intelligence.
We were not aware of any actionable intelligence indicating that an attack on the U.S. mission in Benghazi was planned.
We know
imminent.
This is a lie because we have the ambassador's letter now 2 days before saying, please help us, please. The same day, the bodies of the slain Americans return now to Andrews Air Force Base. Hillary Clinton, who is in this right with him, with Obama in attendance at the transfer of the remains ceremony, she stands there and again blames the YouTube video.
We've seen rage and violence directed at American embassies over an awful internet video that we had nothing to do with.
She is saying this 2 days later as they're bringing the bodies of the dead that were killed, who the president said were killed because of the video. She is now saying on September 14th that we've seen this and it's awful and we had nothing to do with it. But yet the State Department announced last night The State Department never believed the video thing. September 16th, UN Ambassador Susan Rice, she appears on Sunday talk shows, and she says the attacks were provoked by the video exclusively. But the Libyan president on the same day says this.
The way these perpetrators acted and moved, I think they're choosing the specific date for this so-called demonstration. I think this leaves us with no doubt that this is pre-planned, predetermined.
Okay. All right, there he is. Now, the next day, the State Department spokeswoman, Victoria Nuland, she refuses to call this an act of terror. Then the 19th, CNN reports that they were over there. They found Ambassador Stevens' diary right there in Benghazi. They went over, they sent a team to investigate, get some pictures, and they found a diary which indicates concern about security threats in Benghazi, and it begins to unravel. The director of the National Counterterrorism Center tells Congress that the attack in Libya now finally was terrorism. And on September 20th, eyewitnesses tell CBS News there was no protest outside the consulate.
Witnesses tell CBS News that there was never an anti-American protest outside of the consulate. Instead, they say it came under planned attack.
Okay, so now Jay Carney the next day says it's self-evident that what happened in Benghazi was a terrorist attack. Wait a minute, it wasn't self-evident on day one. And it's not self-evident to Obama because he continues to blame the video.
What we do know is that the natural protests that arose because of the outrage over the video were used as an excuse by extremists.
At this point, this man knows there were no protests. Either that or no one talks to the President of the United States. The State Department, the intel community, none of them have said it's the video. But he continues to choose this bogus storyline for some reason. On September 21st, Hillary Clinton finally calls it a terrorist attack.
What happened in Benghazi was a terrorist attack, and we will not
But while
rest
she's saying this, Obama continues to lie. September 25th, first on The View.
Still doing an investigation. There's no doubt that the kind of weapons that were used, the ongoing assault, that it wasn't just a mob action.
It wasn't at all a mob action. And the State Department knew it that night. Then, the same day, in front of the whole world at the UN, he says this.
And that is what we saw play out in the last 2 weeks. As a crude and disgusting video sparked outrage throughout the Muslim world.
September 26th. Published reports show the U.S. intelligence agency and the Obama administration knew within 24 hours that al-Qaeda-affiliated terrorists were involved. September 27th. The Innocence of Muslim filmmaker is then arrested and denied bail on charges of probation violation. Really, Zig Heil. September 28th, the Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, issues a statement backing the Obama administration's changing story about the Libyan attack. He says the facts are evolving. No, sir, the facts do not evolve. Only bogus stories and lies evolve. There was never any protest. The State Department never linked the video to the attack. Nothing the administration has told you comes anywhere near to the truth. Why? And by the way, that investigation to find the killers, because we will not sleep, we will not rest, to find the killers that carried out the attack, well, the FBI, you'll be happy to know, was finally permitted to investigate the crime scene long after the camera crews were gone. Last week. How long were they on the ground? 3 hours. Well, we should have that answer on what really happened now at the end of day, right? Now that the truth is coming to light, the rats are hiding. Hillary Clinton, nowhere to be found. Obama will only do interviews with Entertainment Tonight in the Pimp with the Limp radio show. Why do you think the campaign is focusing on Big Bird? because it's their only option. It's their best option. Somebody needs to ask these questions. 1, why wasn't the president attending his presidential daily briefings? Why were they not aware of the increased violence? Why did they deny repeated requests for extra security? Why were Ambassador Stevens and others in Libya when the British Embassy and the Red Cross were smart enough to leave? Why did the president, who knew Libya, the attack, within 90 minutes after it began, knowing our embassy and our ambassador, the guy he personally assigned to that post, was under violent siege and they didn't know where he was, they didn't know what was going on, why did he just go to bed that night? Why did it take weeks for the FBI to investigate the crime scene? And then when they were there, why were they only allowed to be on the ground for 3 hours before packing it up and heading home? Really important question. Whose idea was it to make up a story about a YouTube video and a protest gone bad? Where'd you ever get that idea? My theory, and it is just this, a theory, Stevens was our broker tasked with arming the Libyan rebels that Obama he vowed to help win the revolution in Libya. And he needed to get those weapons back, and the deal went bad. I don't know if that's true, but something's not right. This is a massive, massive institutional cover-up. This is bigger than Watergate, gang. There's another question. Were the weapons that were used in this attack, were any of them our weapons? I don't know, but gosh, I'd sure like to hear. I haven't heard anybody even ask that question. I don't know what this ends up being in the end, but something is very, very wrong here. The administration is clearly lying to you. And when they lie, it's to cover something up. So what is it they're hiding? Maybe just massive incompetence. But you have been lied to in a massive and coordinated fashion. America's security has been weakened. Are we less safe than we were 4 years ago? Oh, you bet. The administration is using this crisis also to further a Muslim Brotherhood talking point. Don't slander Allah. That's what I find interesting. His first instinct is to go to the Muslim Brotherhood's project. Wow, what a coincidence. Another thing you need to learn from this, the Muslim Brotherhood is evil. And we're in bed with them. We are showing up with the Muslim Brotherhood at the White House, at the State Department, in Homeland Security. They're in our Pentagon and our Department of Justice, and they are treated as friends. They are not. And the other thing that you have to get from this, our enemies have been emboldened. I want to take you over to the chalkboard, and I want to ask a couple of questions. I need to actually open it to the other side here, which is the side that has the 4 questions on it right here. Hang on, let me get it over here. Okay, these 4 questions. I want you to ask yourself, how is the president's batting average? How is it? It's pretty good, 50-50. What is it? When he's wrong, does it hurt us? When it does hurt us, does it put us in danger? And the last question is, when he's wrong, does it help our enemies? Okay. I want to show you, and this is off the top of my head, and I'd love for you to participate in this and send us more for the radio show. But I just want to show you a pattern here that is very disturbing, and I'd love to hear another explanation for it. When he rushes to help, he's always wrong. When he rushes to help, here's what happens. The friend in Boston that was arrested, remember, the cops acted stupidly. He was wrong about it. Did it help us or help the people who hate the United States? The Black Panthers, voter intimidation. He was, I'm sorry, not the voter intimidation. He actually, I'm sorry, that one actually goes on this list. This one is the Trayvon Martin. Did that help? Was he right on that? As it turns out, no, he wasn't right on that. And he did nothing with the Black Panthers over here when he had to wait for the facts. He didn't say anything. Egypt in the Arab Spring, he rushed into that. It's a good thing. No, wait. Same thing with Libya. We have a responsibility to protect. No, wait a minute, Mr. President. The Libya safe house attack. He immediately rushes to help. It's this video. He's wrong here. He's wrong here, 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 and here. He's wrong on all of these things. Now, wait for the facts. This is when he has to really, now, hang on, let's not move too quickly. Fort Hood. Does anybody believe Allah Akbar is a workplace incident? It was a terrorist attack. He was wrong, and he waited. Remember, he had to meet with the guy, the medicine man, and we're having a conference. We waited for him to say anything. The Christmas underwear bomber, remember that? We had to wait for him to say anything about it. The Iranian uprising, we waited. Killing Osama bin Laden, he had that information where he was 6 months prior, and then on the last day to make the decision, he said, I have to sleep on it, like it was a tough decision. BP oil spill. Remember, he didn't show up there? Iran versus Israel. Wait a minute. Let's not, hold on just a second. And now Egypt and Libya. Let's wait for the facts to see what really happened in Libya. Here's what I want to do. How's his batting average? He's wrong on all of these. He's been on the wrong side on every one of these. You can't dispute it. When he's wrong, does it hurt us? Well, this one hurts the cops, hurts our togetherness. The Black Panthers, that hurts us. Egypt, the Arab Spring, that really hurt us. Libya, the responsibility, that's hurt us. Libya, the safe house, that's hurt us. Trayvon Martin, that's hurt us. Fort Hood. Wait, before I get to this side, when it does hurt us, are we in danger? Does this put us in danger? When he's wrong, does it help our enemies? Has Fort Hood hurt us? Has the underwear bomber hurt us? Uprising in Iranian that they didn't do anything about? Did that hurt us? The killing of Osama bin Laden. He was right on that one, but waiting. BP oil spill. Waiting. Was that a good thing? Did that help or hurt us? Iran versus Israel. Is that going to help us? Now Egypt and Libya. Is that going to help us? The last question here is this. We know these all hurt us. But do they help our enemies? People who hate the cops? Occupy Wall Street, all those people? Yep. Black Panthers? Yep. Hurts us. It helps our people in Egypt, the Muslim Brotherhood, helps them. Muslim Brotherhood, Al-Qaeda, it helps them. Libya, the safe house, it emboldens the Muslim Brotherhood and Al-Qaeda. Trayvon Martin, it helps people who think that we are not a just society. Fort Hood, does that help Al-Qaeda? Does that help the Muslim Brotherhood? You bet. His waiting on this, does that help? You bet. Did that help the Iranians by not doing the uprising, not supporting it? You bet. Killing Osama bin Laden? Now that was just a good one. BP oil spill. Did that help our enemies? You bet. How's your gas price today? Iran versus Israel. Is that helping Iran? Yep. Now Egypt and Libya. Is that helping the Muslim Brotherhood? Is that helping them accomplish the project? Yep. Look, gang. You can say whatever you want. You can say he's just the most incompetent man in the world. But the most incompetent man should not be the President of the United States. I personally think this guy's on the wrong side. And I think you have a long enough track record. There is danger to our country. Please explain this to your friends. Show this list to your friends. Ask them. Explain it any other way.